Hello, Georgetown. I'm Beverly Enos, and this is Spotlight Georgetown. Don't forget you can watch us Friday nights at 8 p.m. and then Saturdays and Sundays at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. As part of our community cable service, we're always looking for people that would like to be interviewed. We're always looking for people that would like to help with the behind-the-scenes process, behind the cameras or behind the editing machines. So if you have an interest in anything like that, please let us know. Now today we're talking to Dick Paganelli. Hi, Dick.
How do you do?
How you doing?
Thank you for having me here today.
Okay. Before we get started, we're here to talk about the rail trail.
Right.
But before we actually talk about that, let's talk about you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you've been in town for...
Since '67, we moved into town.
And then you've done all kinds of things since then.
We've done a lot
What
of
have
things.
you done in town, and what are you working on now other than
Let's
this?
see, because I've been involved with the service groups, and I did the Georgetown Athletic Association with my kids. Was the president, coach, and for a number of years. Moved on. I joined the Kiwanis, did a lot of things with the Kiwanis, including the bandstand. I was the principal, and I was the project chairman on that.
Now you're talking about the bandstand that's down
At the park, the Kiwanis.
down at the park that we have the concerts.
Yes,
in,
yes.
The Sunday night concerts.
Yeah, performing pavilion. It's called, yes. Then let's see. I was the president of the JCs. I was the president of the Kiwanis for a while. So I've been involved in service groups. Lately, I've been on this rail trail project for. I've stopped. I stopped belonging to some of these organizations. The Kiwanis organization. This was consuming a lot of my time.
Now, we're talking about it and calling it a rail trail. Does it have an actual real name?
Yes, it's going to be a multi-use pathway. Multi-use, meaning multi-use is going to be non-motorized multi-use path.
Okay, so people can walk, they can bicycle,
Bicycle,
they can
anything,
baby carriages,
anything, they can do.
rollerblades.
Inline skating, yes.
Okay.
So it's going to be open for recreation and transportation.
Now, how did this start coming about that it was going to go through Georgetown? And when was it first thought about coming through Georgetown?
First of all, you have an opportunity here. There's not many towns that have an abandoned railroad right of way going through the center of it. That's a tremendous advantage. It gives you a tremendous potential for a rail trail. Okay, this has been on the table for a number of years. I mean, probably 15, 20 years it's been on the table in one form or another. There's been committees formed back as early as the 70s, and then it stopped, and then it continued in the 80s again. It's been on the table for a long time, and you didn't ask me how I got involved, though, right?
No, but
All
you can tell me that.
So this is the history of it's been on the table for a long time. And the reason it's been on the table for a long time is because it's a good idea, and good ideas happen. So that's pretty much the history of the rail trail.
Now, it's actually going to be a paved trail that will be put over where the rail tracks are now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There are no tracks on it now.
Well, the tracks are all
Everything's
gone.
been removed. The surface is not fully decided. Yes, we're looking at a paved trail, but we've got some issues that we need to, we've got some environmental issues that may impact on that. But yes, it's to be a 10-foot wide paved trail is what we've been designing.
People forget that we used to have trains that came through Georgetown on a regular basis.
Right.
So these are the tracks that they used to use.
That's right. This is part of the old Newburyporter. That's called a Newburyporter. It ran from Newburyport to Georgetown. There was a spur that went out to Bradford, and then it went into Danvers, and then Danvers, it will connect up to Boston through the Wakefield station.
Okay.
So it's got a lot of history.
Yeah. If you're around Town Hall, there are always pictures of Baldpate Station.
That's right. Yeah,
and
right
all of
here.
the different places.
Right.
How long have you been involved in this?
Okay, I've been involved, first of all, Bob Morehouse in 2002, late 2002, approached me about would I be interested in serving on a committee, the Rail Trail Committee. So, I was an art and bicyclist, and I did like I said, I did the bandstand as a project, and I did the land capping as a project when I was on the Board of Health. That was a big project. So I had a little history with Bob because he was a selectman at the time. So he he invited me to be on the committee. So then when I was on the committee, first meeting, I got elected chairman. And
As often happens in Georgetown.
he elected me the chairman. And consequently, let's see, I just passed my 5th anniversary as chairman. I'm working on my 6th year now.
Okay,
It's been a
so
while.
this has been a long time.
It's been a long haul, yeah.
Now, can you describe to us where this trail will pass through Georgetown,
Mhm,
the parts
okay.
of town?
Yeah, at first I'd like to refer to this is the Georgetown recreational path feasibility and concept study that we had done, and it's got some very nice maps in here that I'd like to just describe from these maps. Okay. All right. So the first map here shows where the trail is starting. It's going to start just about in the center of Baldpate Pond, but the most easterly side of Baldpate Pond. That's where the trail bed is, just on the Boxford Georgetown line. And not too far from that is towards the Boxford side is Georgetown Road. So it's going to be going north, all right, and it's going to go by Camp Dennison. Okay, actually, we just bought some property down at Camp Dennison, so it's going to be abutting the rail bed, and there's glades and beautiful wetlands down there, and it's going to continue on up towards Nelson Avenue. It's going to become more glades, and it's all wooded. There are a few new houses in this area, but they're set back quite nicely. It's going to pass Noonan's. It's going to pass by Noonan's florist and greenhouses, and he's all for it. He's ready to put a gate up for the ice cream stand. It's going to pass on to Nelson Avenue. Okay, there is some houses back in through there, but it's pretty much all open. And as it passes through Nelson Avenue, that is the site right at the corner of Nelson Avenue, and the rail bed is the site of the old Baldpate Station. And the Historical Society, the Commission, wants to put a kiosk there describing the Baldpate Station, because that was a big part of Georgetown history. Then we head up from Nelson Avenue towards Brook Street. Okay, we pass up into Brook Street, where there's a potential development going up the street, up on the upper side of Brook Street and the Faraji property. But he has already given us an easement over the land that he bought for us to pass through there. It gets kind of close to houses, but on the left side there's beautiful ponds, beautiful glades. It's a very, very pretty place. As we come further up, there is some wetlands which have developed on the track, which we may have to put some like a walkway through, a wooden walkway.
Okay.
That's a possibility. And then as we get further up the trail, all right, it's going to be running towards Andover Street. It's going to go behind the public safety building, and not the public safety building, and the CVS Mall is right on the trail, so that'll be passing through there onto Andover Street. It's going to cross Andover Street via a set of lights. There'll be a set of lights there because of the traffic pattern there. And then it's going to go through the difficult part of town to us. It's going to be going through the center of town. In the center of town, there was a lot of private ownership through there because the power company sold the property to some of the owners.
Right.
But we've been making good progress there. We've talked to all the people involved. We have verbal agreements for easements, and so that's where we're headed. And then it's going to be coming through. It's going to be coming through the center of town, and it's probably going to exit out the new Railroad Avenue. Railroad Avenue has just been reconfigured because of a development that's going on down there, and the subdivision has been approved. There's a new road coming in there, so we're talking with them exactly how we're going to do it. But most likely it's going to come through there. There's also an option that the trail will come out at the ice cream stand, but we seem to be favoring on Railroad Avenue right now. Where it will cross Moulton Street. It's going to cross Moulton Street, and Moulton Street, it's going to be running alongside, kind of towards the sidewalk side, towards the water department, and it will be going through the parking lot at the water department. There'll be another set of lights which is going to cross West Main Street, and it'll be right next to Bob's Auto.
Okay.
From Bob's Auto, it's going to go past Georgetown Lumber on down to Pond Street. And it's from Pond Street, okay? From Pond Street, it's going to go towards Mill Street.
Right.
And there's a bridge out there.
Right.
There's an old bridge, which is the stream coming out of Pentucket Pond. So And that's all beautiful area too. It's a beautiful swamps and streams down there. It's a very pretty site. And then on to Mill Street. Okay, once it gets onto Mill Street, we're going to be heading down towards the new Parker River Landing, and on the left side is the Cranes Wildlife and Fish and Wildlife area.
Right.
And that pretty much carries, the Fish and Wildlife is on the left hand side, almost all the way to the Newbury line. It's beautiful. It's some of the prettiest scenery in town. So, you know, it's going to be this is you can see there's an old picture of the Parker River Landing, but we've been talking to the people down there because they're concerned at the closeness of it. But we've been working issues with them, and then this is going to go all the way up to now Thurlow Street, and all through this area is pretty much open. It's wooded in swamps and glades and beautiful on both sides. All righty. So, and then we're going to be heading from, we're going to be crossing Thurlow Street, and that's just a low volume road, so there's no special precautions we're going to have there, except we will have, you know, gates at each entrance. And then from there, it's against, on the, running along the Parker River, which will be on your left, and again, the Cranes Pond, Cranes Wildlife area. And that goes all the way up to, to the Newbury line, the Newbury-Georgetown line. And you'll see along there there's the ability to canoe on the Parker River, because it runs right adjacent to it. It's just very, very pretty. It's all kinds of wildlife, birds. It's just a gorgeous place. And that pretty much...
So this will be connecting from, basically from Topsfield through Georgetown out to Byfield or Newbury.
Okay, now you're talking about now the expanded. I only gave you just Georgetown.
Okay.
That's Georgetown.
But that's my question. It will,
Yeah.
it will go, so it will, one end of it will be the Byfield line, and the other end of it will be the Topsfield line.
Boxford line.
Boxford line.
Boxford line, yeah.
Okay, so
That's the Georgetown segment.
Right.
All
Now,
right?
where else will this be going?
Okay.
How far does it go?
Okay, we're talking about a regional trail now. We're participating in a regional effort with the towns of, from the New Hampshire border, Salisbury, coming from north to south. You have Salisbury, Newburyport, Newbury,
Right?
Georgetown, Boxford, Topsfield, Wenham, and Danvers. That should be 8 towns.
So that's
I didn't count them, but I hope there are 8 towns.
that's
I hope I
quite
didn't
an
leave anybody.
undertaking on
This
something
is an
like
undertaking.
this.
This is quite an undertaking, and I just want to mention that the towns of let's see, the towns of Salisbury and Newburyport are part of their rights of way are owned by the MBTA. It's quite easy to get a lease from the MBTA. The towns of Georgetown, Newbury, Boxford, and parts of Topsfield are owned by National Grid Company, the electric company.
Right.
And then parts of Topsfield is owned by the MBTA, Wenham is the MBTA, and Danvers is the MBTA.
So there's a real mix.
That's a very distinctive mix between the two companies, yeah.
Now, with a project this large, how is something like this funded?
Okay, the funding, all right. First of all, the first people to kick up any money towards this project were the Kiwanis of Georgetown. They gave us $500 seed money. They gave it to the committee, which allowed us to buy maps, take some courses, and generally get started on the trail. So they were the first ones to kick in. And we also had a couple of private donations. They gave us a little seed money because we had no budget when we first got started in 2003. Then, as far as developing title research, doing this particular project, we got a grant from the CPC. Okay, we got a
community
grant back
preservation.
for fiscal 2005. We got $30,000, and we've used it all on research, title research, and this feasibility study. Now, when you get into the big money, okay, the big money, the only way you're going to get there was a federal earmark for the regional trail that I spoke of. There was a federal earmark for we had $800,000 earmark that was put in by Senator Tierney, And it was initiated by the Essex National Heritage Commission to do this. So that's $800,000. You want to get into the big money, okay? You have to get transportation enhancement funds, federal transportation enhancement funding, or they have transportation congestion funds too, okay? But the reason we went this way, and the reason we went to regional trails is that unless you have destination in a larger trail, you're not going to get this kind of funding, okay?
Okay, so you went
yeah.
through what would bring the money in
Yeah,
to do the project.
yeah. So that's pretty much.
So it's mostly grant money or
It's going to
funding
be. It's
from
going to be
outside
grant,
of Georgetown.
Yeah, and in order for us to qualify for this money, we have to get a 25% design done, and we have to also get the rights to the trail. Once you
Right.
get that, that's a major milestone.
Now, what have you accomplished thus far since
Okay.
2003? How far are you along on this project?
Okay, so how far are we along in this project? What happened since 2003? I mean, we've done a lot. We have done a lot of this project over the from 2000. I'm not going to go over everything from 2003. I'd rather give you some of the major milestones
Okay.
of recently. Okay. Let's put it this way. It was in 2005. You know, after we've had some meetings with National Grid, and we finally had a meeting right in this room here, where we had National Grid there, a couple of vice presidents from National Grid, and a real estate specialist. We had Senator Tar was there. We had representatives there with us, a number of representatives. We had representatives from several other towns, especially Topsfield, Boxford, Georgetown, and Newbury. So, and I think Danvers, Peabody was there, and Salisbury. So, not Peabody, yeah, Peabody showed up too. Anyways, this showed some serious intent by all these towns, okay? From that point on, things started happening. First thing we got at that meeting was we got a procedure, a policy from National Grid, which we never had before, alrighty? And then National Essex Heritage kind of picked up the ball from that point and formed the B2B coalition. That's when it was really, I think, formed. Okay. From that point on, we got a Rivers and Trails grant from a Rivers and Trails grant from the National Park Service, which brought in some of our resources. I think a guy by the name of Steve Golden. We then got the group together, created an implementation plan. Alrighty. Created an implementation plan, and then in early, I think in the latter part of 2006, this plan was presented to Mass Highway. Mass Highway controls this $800,000 I spoke of, this earmark.
So that's where the money comes from.
This is where the earmark. So the Commissioner Powinski created the Border to Boston Task Force. And from January of 2006, we meet monthly, okay? And during this task force, after almost a year of discussion, this $800,000 plus another 20%, the state's going to kick in to pay for the 25% design for the project. And a letter came into our selectmen just recently citing this, saying the money's going to be available. We appreciate your support. So they're going to do a design of the entire trail, the 25% design.
So far, this feasibility study has been done, so that you
Yeah,
know that
yeah.
it's something that can happen.
Yeah, this was
And
done
what-
prior in that thing. I probably
Right.
missed slotting it in there.
And what needs to happen to make it become a finished project.
Yes, right.
And now you're actually going to start working on some of the designs and,
Well, the 25% design is a major milestone,
okay.
combined with us getting the rights to the trail. Well, now they're going to look at the project. The state's going to look at the project, see what it costs, and then we're going to be looking for approval to move on with the project.
And then what happens after that? So what's in the future here?
Are you asking me what's the major milestones, or is that what you're kind of asking me now?
What are the next milestones?
Okay, the next milestones. All right, the next milestones are this. Right now, Okay, we've developed a scope of work. The 25% design is going to be bid this year, in the year 2008.
Okay.
2009, we expect to see the 25% design complete. Once the 25% design is complete, then they also with that develop a right-of-way plan. We need to get the rights to the trail, and we're working on that. We're working the legal, the title. There's a lot of things happening in that area. Okay, then in say 2010, once we get the 25% design and the rights to the trail, now we can go into the final design. But there's a step in there of approval, I mentioned. Then in 2010, say we do final design. So you may see some construction in some parts of the trail as early as 2011 to the 2015 kind of time frame. Okay.
And then we'll actually have people that will be able to use it by then.
Well, we hope so.
Do you feel that you've got the support of the town behind you on this rail trail?
Absolutely. I think that the support is out there based on the fact that, we did a survey. The survey was very positive. We sent out 2,000 letters through the light department, and we got a return of 25%, which is
that's excellent.
unheard of for us. I mean,
That's
it's a
excellent.
wonderful return for a survey. And of that survey, 90% of the people were in favor of having this kind of trail.
Okay.
And it dropped down into like the mid-60s on the trail, but we had a very, very small response from the abutters. So that, also based on the fact, when we went for the CPC articles, we've gone for 2 funding articles from CPC. We also went for an article giving the selectmen permission to enter a lease agreement with National Grid. And you were the moderator. They were almost unanimous,
Yes.
these votes. I mean,
They
very
were.
much, very people spoken, very little dissent. So
What we've seen at town meeting has always been positive
very
towards what you're
positive.
doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've always managed to bring some maps with you,
Yeah.
and so that you can show
Yeah.
what will be happening, so that
You
everyone
know,
has information.
we still have a little, we have some concern of some of the trail neighbors, but the main concern is trail safety and security. And we had Chief Mulligan at one of our trail butter meetings, gave a wonderful talk on crime, and trails don't bring crime. Crime essentially happens everywhere, so the whole town's got to be cognizant of what's happening around them, and if they
Right.
see something, report it. It's up to everybody, to make it a safe place.
Now, your committee.
Mhm.
Who's on the committee, and when do you meet?
Okay.
And where do you meet?
All right. I've been very lucky to have very good people in the committee. We've rolled the committee over. Some people stay on for a year or so, but right now my committee consists of 4 other great people. I got Jeff Wade, Bill Monroe, Bill Hastings, and a new person joined us, Kelly Lombardo, who's been doing a great job. So we meet generally we would meet the 2nd and the 4th Thursday. That's generally, but we do shift that based on availability. And also, I've got friends of committees, people who I can count on for certain things. And I got 3 people I'd like to mention because they're doing tasks for us generally now. I got Chuck Kelty, who's
Okay.
a young attorney who's
Yes.
helping us quite a bit. And there's Chris Roop,
Yes?
and we have Elizabeth Rose, who's helping us doing some writing for us. And
Okay, so you meet on Thursdays, what time?
we meet 7 p.m.
7
Yeah,
p.m.
Yeah.
Here, someplace in town hall?
We meet generally in the basement meeting room. Yeah.
Okay, so that people can check the board and see
Yeah,
where it is.
yeah,
But these
exactly.
are open meetings.
They're
So,
always welcome.
So if
Always
anyone's
welcome.
interested or wants to
Anytime,
ask questions, they can
Anybody
come
got
and
a
join.
complaint, a problem, please come see us. We see if we can help them.
How is your committee appointed
Well,
or volunteered?
pretty much. The list goes out, and you need to send in a request to Steve Delaney with a little, excuse me, a little bit of a, about yourself, a little something about yourself, and then he pretty much passes them on.
So it's appointed by the selectmen.
Yeah, the selectmen appoint them. They pass them on to the selectmen, then they appoint them. Yeah.
Are you looking for new members?
Always. I mean, even if we don't have a slot for the committee, we have what we call growing friends of the committee. We'll give you something to do. There's things you can do to help us, in certain areas. I mean, they can be simple little tasks that won't take a lot of time. Is we got to make some more of these books. We need somebody who's willing to run some copies off, so, you know.
But a project that's going to take us from Boxford all the way to Newbury is a large project.
It's a huge
and
project.
And it needs lots of people.
It's gonna take time too, and it's gonna take patience for us to get there, so,
Well,
yeah.
thank you very much for sharing what you've got
All
for us
right.
today.
All right,
I
thank you.
appreciate you coming
Appreciate
in.
it. Okay, Beverly, thank you.
This is Spotlight Georgetown. I'm Beverly Enos. Glad to see that you joined us. Don't forget you can watch at 8 p.m. on Friday evenings, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. on Saturdays and Sundays. And if you'd like to volunteer to help with the Trail Committee, make sure you check with Steve Delaney. Thanks for joining us. Bye for now.